We're sitting here with John Coyle from Outspoken, who are playing at Bridge 9 tonight, and
Very excited.
absolutely thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. Thank you for you guys for doing this and for being here. But I don't know. I just figured we'd start with. It's been a minute since you had some shows.
It has been a while.
Talk about what got you to this point.
We've been talking about reissuing the records for some time. Couple labels we were going to deal with, and it ended up being Equal Vision, which we're excited about. And with the re-releases, it made a lot of sense to get all the guys back together and go out and hit it and play the songs. It's super exciting.
Nice. So I think it was Equal Vision that's reissuing the current.
Correct.
And what's the plan with them moving forward? Is that coming out?
We'll have records tonight with the covers aren't finished yet, but we'll have the records tonight, and then the regular ones come out, I want to say, next week.
Nice. Actually, I had somebody from Europe that I've known since the 90s hit me up and said, you need to get me copies of these records. So
Europeans are crazy. Yeah. I brought one of the test pressings to one of my friends from Sweden. He was pretty excited.
Nice.
Yeah. Europeans are crazy about records and keeping track of them and getting every single variant. It's
awesome. I've got this friend from Germany we've been pen pals since the 90s. And I think it's been the same thing, just getting records, like we'd put something out and he'd need to get the limited version,
I just want the music.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do a record, and the limited edition version was black vinyl.
Oh, for sure.
That would be the coolest. There's like 10 in black vinyl. The rest of them are whatever.
I did that with American Nightmare. We did all black vinyl, but we changed the colors of the labels just to mix it up a little bit, but they're all black.
Yeah. I don't struggle with it, but all I really care about is music.
Yeah.
And not just mine, but like other people's. I just want the music. The vinyl part seems, not that I care if it's like consumerism, but I just think that sometimes it gets lost.
For sure. I like the individual kind of like uniqueness of some of the records. Like if you have a record release or if you have something special where you don't even have the covers, so you just make something. I do enjoy that.
I love that. Especially when it's not planned.
Yeah.
Like we did that when we toured. I think it was the Survival 7-inch. We didn't have covers, and we Xeroxed covers, and I still see those. And I was going through my boxes a while back, and I still had 5 of them.
Yeah.
It's that stuff I like, because it's not like you're sitting there going, hey, I'm going to take these and hand number them, and then they'll be worth more, and people will want to buy them because they're limited edition. There's a purpose.
Yeah, out of necessity.
You got it. Like the ones we have tonight. The covers didn't come in time, so we screen printed covers, and that's awesome. And when we look at them later, I think that'll be, I don't know, it'll remind me of the time, which is more important than trying to sell records, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, I think my 6th release, we had a printer that just sat on their hands and didn't get us the covers for months. So every tour, we just made a new version of it, new cover. And I think by the last one, it was just fuck this printer.
Yeah, back of it. It's an awesome opportunity to do something creative.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's why I love the I don't mean to verve off, but the Bridge 9 story with the shirts and the Yankees and that whole thing is so remarkable. And when we were doing Outspoken, the Straight Edge Isn't Cool Anymore shirt.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about that, because I had heard that was a fundraiser.
It was back then, and I think it's this way now, but back then we had to pay, even though, Mike had New Age, Dennis had Conversion, and we were putting our own records out. We still had to come up with our money to record the records. And I had to raise my part of the recording. And Sam Velde was like, hey, I've got a shirt idea. And I was like, okay, I have enough money to make those shirts. I'm going to make just enough to cover my cost of recording the album.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it worked. And then I was like, we'll never make them again. Mike hated the shirt idea. It was no one really liked it. And I was like, we'll never make them again. There'll be, I think it was 24, and that'll all we'll make. And then obviously since then, everyone started making them, and there's 50 versions.
35 years later, it's still a thing. People still are making homages to that.
It's pretty incredible, right?
Yeah.
It's shocking. But the whole intent of it, well, your thing kind of reminds me. It was a means to an end. It was a way that I could take that, sell 24 shirts, make the money, and then go record our record. Which the recording's terrible, but we got it done.
You got it done. I mean, that was Bridge 9's story in the 90s. Like when I started Bridge 9, nobody knew what it was outside of my friends, so nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
But I needed two things. I needed to like get the name out there, and I also needed to make money to put out records.
Yeah.
So I started making straight edge t-shirts. We had like these anime straight edge shirts. We had these, Crimson Ghost kind of like X'd up hands shirts.
Yeah, I remember all of it.
Yeah, it was just like, all right, if we can, nobody cares about this, so let's make this, sell to them, and then we can reinvest in the label.
Yeah.
And that just kind of like was the template for what happened with Fenway Park and like Yankee Suck. It was like, all right, well, we need money. People want this. Let's make this and put it into that.
To me, that's just the most incredible, like the brilliance and the creativity and finding that path to do the thing that you wanted to do. Most people don't get that, right? And we were making records when we were younger, and Mike and Dennis were putting them out. The money we made for that release went to the next release.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get one that doesn't sell or something happens, and the whole thing the whole
Just
train
stops.
crashes. Or you send records to Europe and you don't get paid, which I'm sure you've been through that.
I mean, problems with distributors, problems, we've had bands that break up right after a record comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's one of the hardest things about doing a label is seeing unrealized potential. Like, right? Like you have a band that you feel like everything's going to work, and then they break up 2 months after the album comes out.
Yeah.
But that happened with like a band like Carry On for us. Absolutely perfect album.
Yep.
Southern California straight edge band.
Yep.
They break up months after the record comes out.
Great dudes.
Yeah.
Super talented. Unbelievable record.
We're still talking about that record 25 years later.
100%.
And they're, reuniting and we're reissuing the record. But, it was one of those things where it was like, we put everything into it and we're super excited. And then it just, for whatever reason, it's, it could be a number of reasons. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that even when that happens 20 plus years later, people are still excited about it. But it's not always the case.
It is not always the case. Again, we talked about some bands earlier that were, to me, the most epic and most important bands of my childhood, and they come back, and because the records don't stay in print and because there's nothing keeping them relevant, they kind of just fall off, and it's almost like they're starting over, right?
Yeah. Well,
I think that's what's important about what you do too with all these records and keeping them in print.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when we were talking, I was saying how, like, as a label, I feel like you always want to be putting out new albums and new records with new bands, but it is important to keep stuff in print. It is important to reissue albums from bands that were like foundational for you, for us as a label, for a scene, like I think that it's very easy. There's so many distractions and so many bands that it's very easy for bands to just kind of fall off.
Well, again, we totally need new bands, but we'll always need Minor Threat, Out of Step.
Yeah.
Right? Like that record needs to remain in print. That is like, people lose their way, you just go back.
Yeah.
Right? And you can just look at, like, there's certain records of certain decades, and it's, Minor Threat, Out of Step, and then you get Gorilla Biscuits.
Yep.
And like those are those timestamps of those moments. And like that roadmap needs to stay forever. But there needs to be new bands, because you can't just live in the past on those old records.
Yeah.
And that's got to be difficult for you, because the scene's the same, but it expands and changes, right? Like when I go to shows now, the kids are into the same stuff, but they're not, it's different than it was for us, right?
Yeah.
Not better, worse, anything else, but it's different. And being able to evolve, and what worked for Bridge 9 before selling records when you were doing stuff with Have Heart probably doesn't work now with the newer bands. It's like swerves.
My feeling is with a label like Bridge 9, like you constantly have to be like working with whoever's out there. And it's kind of very similar to like a baseball team. Like you kind of need to continually like have different parts of your like roster. And if things change and the music evolves and things like aren't as into what you're into, then you kind of fade away.
And you also have to like foster that and push it, right? And drive it. Like maybe it's not what you're into, but the kids are into it now, and it's different. It's the same, but different.
Yeah.
But you have to pivot and figure out, okay, this isn't Have Heart. So maybe the Have Heart kids don't like this, but the new kids like this. It's just a pivot.
Well, and Have Heart was a response to what happened before them. I mean, a lot of times bands are a response to, or in scenes are a response to whatever came before them.
Yeah.
So like, what worked in one decade or in one group of years, it's not going to work, 3 years later.
The problem with Have Heart is they're better than what was before them. One thing I want to say from California, watching the hardcore scene, how amazing is it that anyone outside, I'm sure it's this way in Boston, but anyone, I'm shocked you and I have never met.
Sure.
But to be synonymous with Boston hardcore, like Bridge 9 is Boston hardcore, right? Like Exclaimed, like SSD, all that stuff was before. At a certain point, like you created that world and then you owned it. Like that's super, super impressive.
But, again, I was lucky to be in the right place at the right time with a lot of the right things happening,
Yeah, but do you ever stop and reflect? Like, it's pretty amazing. Like, again, we've never met. And like, to me, I knew Bridge 9 was Boston. Like, if it's Boston, it's Bridge 9. It's almost this, like, Boston, Bridge 9, hardcore. Like, that is one thing. It's not three different things. That is one statement.
So I appreciate you saying that.
Well, it's just true, right? Like, that has to feel pretty good.
It does. But again, there's a lot of responsibility with that. And it's also like continually trying to evolve and, still maintain what we are, but still grow and still be relevant. I mean, we've been a label 31 years. So I mean, Outspoken's been a band how many years now?
So since 1990.
Yeah. I mean,
88 maybe?
Yeah. So it's wild and incredible that, you've got bands like Have Heart that, I've heard Pat say that that Have Heart wouldn't exist if not for Outspoken. Like that's wild. That's incredible. Like to create
humbling,
something.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, to create something and to put it out there and then to have it just get absorbed and like influence other people on the other side of the country.
It's shocking to be part of something that still matters. Like that's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people do things and it goes away. And some things that people do become extremely important, right? But to be even remotely thought about 30 years later, to me is extremely humbling. And we're very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Right. Like just extremely lucky.
I mean, artists that, from the 80s into the 90s, whether it's like, rev bands like Youth of Today, Gorilla Biscuits, Judge. I mean, I saw all three of them in the last few years.
Yeah.
And Steve Reddy, who runs Equal Vision, was slinging merch for all three bands. Yeah. And I had the good fortune of meeting Steve in the 90s, and he used to sell a lot of Bridge 9's early t-shirts, through Equal Vision. Yeah. So we've had a long history. But I was just asking him, I was like, in 1989, did you have any inkling of thought that you were going to be back here in like 35 years with your friends and with these bands, and that it would be as relevant, as cool as it was then?
With new people coming in, right?
Yeah.
Like that, it's shocking. And there was one thing I remember I was doing a band a few years ago, and like this guy was like, you have to get all the new kids into it. And then you realize, like, I get it, but we all want to go see music still. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not making music because I want to sell records. I'm making music because I want to make music. And if that means that, 40-year-olds want to come and hang out, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's good enough for me.
That was the same feeling that Pat had when I spoke with him about stuff with Have Heart and stuff with all the bands that he started since, Have Heart originally broke up. He's constantly creating new music and creating new bands. And it's in a way for him to connect with people, build friendships. Yep. But also just like evolve as an artist.
Yeah. And again, like can't always do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. He's the same way.
So sick how you treat me. Every day my thoughts defeat me. Gave up all I had inside. In the back the remains of a wasted life.